Hey, what's up, everybody? Sorry for the noise. I have fans blowing because it is super hot. I turned on the AC, but it probably turned itself back off. But anyways, I wanted to make this video because No Man's Sky is coming out very soon. I believe it's coming out next week or the week after. And I wanted to make this video because of that, and because over the past week there has been a lot of footage leaked on the game. And usually when a game is this big, there's going to be some leaks, just like Grand Theft Auto. People have got their hands on early copies, and the developers have said that the copies that people are playing are basically review copies. They're pre-patched, and they're not going to be basically they're not what the final game is going to be. With that being said, this game looked boring as hell. I called it uh, probably over a year ago when they first released anything about the game. I think it was like a year and a half ago. I looked at the game. I was like, okay, it sounds interesting. Then when I actually seen footage of the game, I was like, okay, this game is boring. And the more and more I started to learn about the game, the more and more I found out that just to me, this game looks boring. And the reason why I said that is because I know this type of game. Basically, what this game reminds me of is Spore slash Space Engineers, and there's a couple other games on PC that are similar to this. And I believe that this game is super, super overly hyped. And where most of that hype is coming from is people who never played these type of games before. Like I said, the PC has a couple games like this. Uh, so I wasn't really too hyped about it, but most PS4 people don't own PCs, or if they do, they don't own gaming PCs like I do. My PC is very powerful, and I built it that way for music. But I also have games on it also. But I play games like this, so this is why most of the hype is coming from the PS4 side, not the PC side, because we have games like this. That's where most of that overhype is coming from the PlayStation guys. Um, but I was watching some of the footage of the gameplay, and let me tell you, it is exactly as I thought, boring. And even though this is pre-patched and this is like a review copy or anything, something like that, whatever it is, I don't know exactly what it is. Um, they said that they are going to add some things to the game, like communication. They're like adding in some system to where you can um, actually play with other players, and a couple other things, but nothing that's going to drastically change the game from what it is right now. Nothing that's going to drastically change the gameplay and make it fun. To me, what I think will make this game fun is if they added some aspects of like building, crafting, and stuff like that. I believe that they do have some type of weapon crafting, and that's what I think we're looking at in front of us, but I'm not sure. Um, but also ship crafting, base building, stuff like that. I think that'd be very fun, but that's not going to be in the game. They're not having ship crafting. I do believe that you can like buy ships or whatever, but I don't think that you can actually like build a ship from scratch, or really drastically change your ship. I believe that the person said that all your ships are pre-built, um, and I could be wrong. They may have some type of upgrade system, but there's no crafting system in this game other than the weapons, I believe, which is stupid. Um, and also the story. There's really no super strong story to this game. I read that there is going to be like a story in here, but not a strong one. And that's going to be very boring. I mean, like I said, this game of like Spores slash Space Engineers. And Space Engineers is similar to this, but there's more that you. I'm not gonna say there's more that you can do with Space Engineers, but they have some funner mechanics in Space Engineer, like the whole building system. I love it. I mean, that's amazing. But like I said before, us PC players, we have games like this, so this is why we're not overhyping it. Now, another reason why I made this video is because look at the graphics on it. These graphics are terrible. And I'm not saying that a game has to have great graphics for it to be a great game. The only reason why I'm making this response is because um, people, they don't seem to understand what procedurally generated is. Procedurally generated is basically you have all these different variations, these variables, and you just randomly, like basically when something like when a planet wants to generate, it will take all those variations, all those variables, and mix them together, shake them up, and throw them out, and what you get is what you get. That is what procedurally generated is. Now, what happens is that this guy he comes into this planet, and let me turn this down. And you will see a lot of this popping, a lot of this popping. Well, a lot of people are saying that that is due to the planet procedurally generating, and most of that is coming from PS4 and Sony fans because if you're a PC gamer, you would know that what you're seeing is rendition. This is the game rendering. Procedurally generated would mean that, say, if I'm landing into this area right here, when I leave this planet and come back to this area, it will be different. That's procedurally generated, and a lot of people don't understand that these planets are already generated before you even play the game, before you even get into the server, before you even pop your disk in. This planet is already generated. The procedurally generation has already happened. It's not like when you fly to a new planet, everything will generate itself. No, that stuff is already there. The procedurally generated generation has already happened before you even land on the planet. It's not like it happened as you land on the planet. No, it doesn't happen like that. It has already happened, and that doesn't take away from its uniqueness at all. A lot of people don't know that it already happened before you even get there. So people are trying to say that the slow rendering time is because it's procedurally generating. That's not true, because if it were like that, before it renders in, it would look different after it renders. We wouldn't be able, if it was procedurally generating as we go, the silhouette of it wouldn't be the same as it is when it's rendered in. Now watch. So look, the textures. It's trying to render in the textures. That's what it's trying to do. It's not it's not procedurally generating nothing. And I think that a lot of people don't know what procedurally generated is. See, all that is rendering. That has nothing to do. A lot of people are just so ignorant. It's sad, and it's mostly coming from the PS4 side because most PC players, they know about this stuff. They know about hardware. They know about graphics because most of us build our own PCs, our own gaming rigs. So we kind of have to know this unless we have people building our stuff for us. See, you can see all the stuff pop, the graphics popping in. See, you saw that? That rock was the same rock as it was before it rendered, before it fully rendered the texture. And that's, see, just like these are popping up. All that pop-up that's not procedurally generated, because if you go back to the same spot, if you were to turn around, fly to that same spot, those rocks would be in the same position. They'd be the same rocks. Now that's just rendition. A lot of people are just idiots. Um, and I was trying to explain that in the comment section, but I would love to see these people response, because that's all it is. Like, these mountains are the same as they were. Like, this one right here was the same as it was when he flew the first time past it. All it's doing is just rendering. It is not procedurally generating anything. Because if it did, it would be different every damn time. See, that's just pop-in. That's not procedurally generating at all. That's pop-in. That's all it is. That means, basically, what is happening is that the processor within the GPU or in the CPU of the hardware is trying to load in. That's just a good example right there. See, the rock was the same as it was after it rendered in. All you seen was just more details because it rendered in the textures. That's all it's doing. That's why they're not. And see, a lot of people don't understand that. But anyways, yeah, I mean, it's sad how ignorant it is now. Um, and this is due to Sony's the PS4's outdated hardware. The PS4 is greatly outdated. In order to play this game, for PC all you need is a GTX 480 or something like from an AMD, probably like a R9 750, which aren't strong cards at all. Those cards are, they're like medium range cards, and they're old too. I had a R9 9750 about um, I mean, sorry, 7950. I said a 9750, but a 7950. I had that card. I brought that card probably back in 2011. So it's an old card. It's a very old card. It's about 5 years old. Um, and the sad thing about it is that card is more powerful than the card that's in the PS4. The GTX 480 is more powerful than the current card that they have in the PS4 and in the Xbox. This is why Xbox Scorpio came out, because basically what it is a Xbox with stronger specs. So it's kind of sad, really. They should have just made this game simply for PC. A lot of people don't like the Xbox Scorpio and what Microsoft is doing with the Xbox Scorpio, but I really think that's the future of gaming when it comes to consoles, man. I've been telling family members this for the longest of times, um, that Sony and Microsoft should definitely come out with different variations of the consoles. They should have the basic console, which has the basic, specs to it, and then they should have different upgrades, kind of like the Steam box. How the Steam box have different variations of the console. The more you pay, basically, the stronger the specs are, the more you pay. You know what I'm saying? They should have at least 3 versions of each console. Like the PS4 should have 3 different versions. The Xbox One should have 3 different versions. You know. Um, but yeah, it's really sad. It's really sad how ignorant people are. They're trying to say, "Oh, you're just a PC elitist and all this stuff." No, it's not. That's not what it is. The reason why I want it to be better, in general, is for everybody. Um, because there's one person in the comment section. He said that this game will sell more PS4s. Yeah, I'm sure it will, but not as much as people will think, because most people who don't have a PS4 has a Xbox 360, and most Xbox 360 players also own PCs, and PCs that are at least good enough to play a game. If you brought, and I'm not talking about laptops, I'm talking about desktops. If you have brought a desktop computer for about $500 up, or even $350 up, which most people have, if you bought a computer within the last 5 years, you will most likely have a PC that will at least have most hardware that's strong enough to play this game. Most desktop computers have at least an i7 or i5 processor inside of them. I'm talking about desktop computers, and they at least have about 6 gigabyte of RAM. And in those two departments, that's more than enough to play a game. Now, where most desktops, pre-built desktops, lack in are the GPUs, which are the graphic processing unit. Those are usually where they're weak at, but it doesn't take you much to upgrade that. All you need to do is spend about $100 or less to get you a 9750 or a GTX 480. Both of them cost less than $100. You can find both of them less than $100. So why would you spend $350 to $400 to buy a PS4 when you can spend $100 just to buy a graphics card and play this game? That makes no damn sense. So most people, it will probably sell more graphic cards than it will PS4s, because you don't need an expensive graphics card to play this game at all. So yeah, that's basically all I have to say. This game looks disappointing, but that's to be expected. I knew that this game wasn't going to live up to its hype. And the only reason why it has so much hype is because of the PS4 players, because they never had a game like this before. We have games like this on PC. So I would really like to see the reviews, before buying this game, because who knows, I may buy this game, but to me this game looks, it doesn't look uh, it doesn't look exceptional or anything like that. See, that's all it's doing. It's just rendering. People are just idiots, man. Especially people who know nothing about um, video games and how video games work, how they're made, and stuff like that. So, anyways, that's all I have to say. Talk to you guys later if I can find this. Peace.